Okay, game one for India, game two of the Champions Trophy, India versus Bangladesh. India with the easy dub. We had a stutter batting performance by Bangladesh, 5 wickets down for nothing. Recovery, Tariq Ridoy with a nice century. Shami's back, took a nice five-fer, and then Akshar was giving trouble with the bowling as well. Harshit with a nice three-fer. Then we had India hit it off with Rohit Sharma, a great start, looked good in his innings, and then Shubman with a majestic 100 to bring home the dub for India. Welcome back. You are watching the In Between Overs podcast. I'm Taran. Okay, immediate thoughts on the game.
Clinical, very, very clinical. And I think, you kind of saw glimpses of that in the ODI series with England. But, if subcontinent type conditions and with the type of talent India has, you need just a few players to step up. And once those players step up, it's game over. And, I thought from a bowling perspective, great. As you mentioned, a lot to talk about. And from batting as well, nice to see Shubman Gill continue his form. And Rohit Sharma, looking nice as well. I know we'll talk about the other batters, but I think all in all, it's a 50 over tournament, and as you and I both know, each game matters. And you lose a game, you're under pressure, serious pressure for the next match. So I think India needed a flying start, and they got it.
Absolutely. I think the word clinical is the perfect word to use. They could have been a little more clinical after having Bangladesh at 36 for 5, but you expect a team who is international caliber to make a fight back, and you don't expect them to fold that easily. And that's what we got from Bangladesh, which was actually good to see. Great fight back by Tawheed Redoy. I got to say that 10 times fast. And then Jakar Ali as well with the great innings to give Bangladesh something to fight with. And India then came out with a bat, and Shubman Gill put on a show. His form is princely right now. No pun intended. He's really batting like the prince that he everyone calls him. And yeah, it was a clinical performance with the bat by India. Again, maybe lost 1 or 2 wickets too many, I think. Could have finished it off more cleanly, but having said that, the pitch wasn't the easiest. It wasn't the easiest. So good performance all in all.
Yeah, no, and I guess if you do want to comment on some of the key moments in the game, I
Yeah.
think that Bangladesh partnership, as you mentioned, I think that was very clinical. And I think what you do miss in not a lot of ODI games throughout the years is that sort of semi, I would say, test match like mentality where you have to play off the spinners properly. You have to really create a proper ship, and as we see in Test cricket, sometimes you have to really grind it out sometimes. And we were able to see that in ODI cricket, I would say, especially with just the influx of T20 cricket that we just see. So it's
Yeah.
nice to see that. And, it's that proper cricket, that's proper patience, and that's how you really frustrate the opposition. It just seems like Rohit Sharma's always able to get his bowlers having a great start, but there's always just that one partnership in the middle that just somehow eludes him. And, another great partnership against India from Bangladesh. I'm glad, he wrote Hiridoy. Did I say that
Tawheed
right?
Radoy. Yeah, you got it.
Tawhid Ridoy was able to score 100 because he really did deserve it. And, the way he
Yeah.
played Kuldeep was great. And
With cramps
to your
too.
point, with cramps too, exactly. And people don't realize it's 50 overs. It's a long time.
Yeah.
You have some time.
Yeah.
And so, no, great to see. And to your point, that's when it really turned the game around. And that's what really turned it into a match. Because otherwise, India was really sailing it through it. And, I know there was a key moment as well where, and I want to hear your thoughts as well, where Akshar Patel was on a hat trick and dropped by Rohit Sharma in the slips. Oh, man, if that
Yeah.
went down, I think it would have been really, really gates closed for Bangladesh.
Yeah, we'll talk about the collapse. To your point on that partnership, that is what makes one day cricket so exciting because you
Hmm.
wouldn't necessarily get that in T20 because
Hmm.
T20 is such a short format. If Bangladesh were 36 for 5, that's pretty much game over right there. But because it's 50 overs, because it's a slightly longer format, they are able to stage some sort of a comeback and turn it into a match, which they did, and kudos to them for doing that. And then to your point about the collapse, Bangladesh should not have been in that position to begin with. That
Hmm.
collapse, some of the wickets were unnecessary. It was, yes, good bowling, but some of the batting was pretty weak and pretty timid. Shanto's shot, being a captain, like what was that? Like he's just flailing at the ball, no power in the shot, kind of just threw his bat out there, gave his wicket away. And there was a couple like that. I think Mehdi Hassan as well. He flashed at it again. He flashed at it and he got a thick edge. Was the shot called for? I don't know. Having seen with the already two down, seeing the ball doing something, maybe you just play out the first 10 overs. You're playing 50 overs, you're not playing 20 overs, right? And who knows if Bangladesh consolidated in those first 15, 20 overs, not losing too many wickets, maybe they put up a score of 260, 270, which would have made it more challenging for India because, yeah, it was a clinical batting performance, but it wasn't without any hiccups. They still lost wickets. There was still a point at which if Bangladesh got a couple more quick ones, India looked like they would be in trouble. So who knows what could have happened if Bangladesh assessed the conditions better in those first 15, 20 overs.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And, we did see a lot of, I would say, not the best and smartest batting from the Bangladesh side. But I want to hear your comments on India's bowling. A lot of discussion on Shami. Is he fit? He's in case slower. Everyone is now quiet.
Yeah, yeah, and that's the thing, right? Like I think we talked about it in the previous series. He didn't look like he was at his 100%, which makes sense. You're coming back from injury. Very rare does a sports athlete come back to 100% right away. You have rare specimens that do that who are the typical athletes. I'm talking NBA, LeBron James, people like that. But when you have someone like Shami, who's not necessarily an athlete per se, he's great. He's a sportsman. He puts in the work for sure, which is why he was able to come back in the time frame he did. But everyone takes their own time to get to quote unquote full performance. And I think we finally saw signs of that in this game. Is it him playing a Champions Trophy game of substance that made
Hmm.
him put a performance like that? Because he's known to do that. We saw someone in the comments, shout out to that person.
Jaswant
Sorry,
Reddy.
yes.
Jaswant Reddy.
Yes, thank you, thank you, thank you. Justin Reddy, thank you for that comment. That was great. You're so right.
He
He is
called
a
it. He called it.
yeah, he called it. He's a tournament. He's a tournament bowler, and he showed us that in the game.
Yeah, no, crazy, crazy shutout, and that's what it is. At the end of the day, there are players, and then there are match winners. And Shami, especially in the ODI format, as we've seen in the ODI Cricket World Cup in India in 2023, he is a match winner. One of his spells can really shift the games, and no, I think it's great to see him back. And there's a lot of people sitting out. Arshdeep. So again, India's bowling attack is looking very nice, and spinners again. I'm not sure if you want to comment on anything specifically with spinners. I think we're able to keep it tidy, keep it clean, and get wickets at key moments.
Yeah, yeah, and I know we didn't talk about that Akshar Patel hat trick opportunity. So I didn't know
Hmm.
that Rohit Sharma dropped the hat trick ball. I didn't know
Dropped
that.
it sitter. It was a sitter first slip, and it was two slips.
I didn't even
Yep.
see that. What?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It was. Oh man, it was. And then he was very apologetic, very, very
Oh
apologetic.
man.
I think it was Akshar's first appearance in Champions Trophy, so something like that. But yeah, it was on hat trick ball, 2 wickets down already, easiest catch in the slips, and unfortunately dropped.
Man, I'm happy that he was apologetic about it though, because we've all seen the footage of
Yes.
him yelling at Jaiswal or like
Yeah.
flinging his hat on the
Yeah.
ground. So that's good to see. That's good to see. So if he messes up, he's apologizing for it. That's great to see. You want to see that from your captain. So
Yeah.
hard luck, I guess, for Akshar. Man, that would have been fun, and that would have been the game right there.
Very, very much so. And because at those moments, and like getting a hat trick, and you play cricket, I play cricket, we played sports. Getting a hat trick is very momentum shifting. It's boom, crowds now entirely on one side. Everyone is jumping. Fielders are very locked in after that, right? So
Yeah.
I think it really would have shifted. But hey, kudos to them to take advantage of that drop and really consolidate down the middle.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's talk about India's batting. We had the Prince with his 101. Red, as they say down under, not out, looked super comfortable at the wicket. He played the ball on merit. He respected the good balls. He brought out hit the Gill specials with the cut outside off stump, and with the flick, the pull, the half pull, swivel, whatever you call it. You know what I'm talking about, Shubman Gill special. So it was a great 100. I really enjoyed watching it, and it felt like a coming of age on 100 as well because he took responsibility to help India get to the target, and he wasn't willing to give his wicket away for that.
No, no, no. And like to your point, just speaking on Shuman Gill first, as you point, coming of age sort of knock. And as batters have always said in any interview, any sort of Instagram reel, they want to see the game through. And
Yeah.
that's what he did. He ensured that his end was safe, and to your point, wickets were tumbling at moments, and we'll get to that shortly. But very locked in, very as you mentioned, princely, very Kohli-esque, right? And class inning, and yeah, no, I think that's what India needs: someone in the top order to just step up. Because I think if one person just steps up or has their day, incredible. And so, Shubman Gill, and I know we're going to speak on Rohit Sharma next, but Shubman Gill, hats off to him, and hopefully he continues this form throughout the tournament.
Yeah, yeah. Is the apprentice here to stay in place of Virat Kohli? Let us know in the comments below. Is the apprentice here? Awesome. So we had some other contributions from Rohit Sharma and KL Rahul. Both hit 41 each. Good innings from Rohit at the top. Looked like, again, Rohit of old. He seems to have gotten some form back. He looked a bit shaky. I know you were messaging me on WhatsApp about it against I think it was the Fizz, Mustafizur. He
And I
was
was
a bit
watching
shaky.
on the go train to work in the morning because the time difference. So I'm
Nice.
like watching it. I'm like, oh no, he's looking shaky.
Nice, yeah. And so then he was able to throw his lines off by doing what Rohit Sharma does, stepping out of the stepping down the track, giving himself room, moving around on the pitch that enabled him to mess with the Fizz's line and lengths. And I think that really helped him. And then he was able to play that cameo of a 41.
Yeah, and I think similar to the ODI tournament in India, I think perhaps maybe this is the approach that Team India and Rohit Sharma are taking, where I think he has that license in that power play in the ODI game to just go for it. I think in this instance, Shuman Gill, is going to be, I would say, a little more. Careful with his batting. But I think Rohit Sharma, man, maybe that's just Gautam Gambhir's approach as well. Just you have that license, in the first 10 overs to really go for it. And we saw him, once he was able to really, get the line and length correctly, he was, moving down the track, cutting the ball, very finding those gaps, going over the fielders. So I think that's India's approach, and it worked. It worked for them in the ODI tournament in India, where you just go at them in the first 10 overs, momentum's down, and then boom, 40 more overs to play with. But I think this is a good tactic that could work for India.
Yeah, yeah, I think so too. So before we talk about KL Rahul, we had a little shaky middle order that where the wickets tumbled a little bit. And kudos to the bowling during that little period there, especially the Bangladeshi leg spinner who seems to be getting more and more talked about. Rashad
Hmm.
Hussain is the person. He bowled really well, 10 overs, 38 runs, 2 wickets. He didn't give too many bad balls. He looked threatening. He got the wicket of Virat Kohli, another leggy getting Virat Kohli out. I don't know. Are we looking at another weakness now? Like what's happening? And
Man,
then he
first of all,
got
if what a
Akshar
bad
too.
shot.
What's it? Go ahead.
Yeah, no, no, on that Virat Kohli point, bad shot, but
Yeah.
we'll talk about him shortly. But to your point, that bowling, that leggy, and it's always nice to see leggies come in. I think they're always a part of the culture, part of the cricket lore. Leggies, especially for us growing up, watching some classic leggies. But no, it's nice to see that, and he's really being able to create a dent in international cricket.
Yeah, yeah. Let's see. His story arc is going to be interesting. How his performances go going forward. But that gave Bangladesh some sort of hope. You felt that 144 for four, another couple of quick wickets, and we're probably looking at a tight finish to the game. But that wasn't to be. KL Rahul stepped up again, much needed runs. Saw India home. Very, very calm and collected 41.
He could open and he could come way down the line. That's Gail Rahul, real true servant to Indian cricket. And as you mentioned, last, it just seemed like he was looking at the ball, being able to really play his shots. And no, to your point, very as you would expect from him. You know, very underrated. Always, in my opinion, has been. But he's able to fill in any position required for Team India. And again, did it again today.
Yeah, I think it was Mel Jones on comms that said he's Mr. Versatility,
Yep,
which is the
no better
perfect
word.
word for him. He could play anywhere in that top six, top seven even, and he keeps wickets. He's the modern day Rahul Dravid, who I believe is his mentor, and I think he was named after him too. So yeah, yeah, great little innings.
And they both wicket keep as well, right? Like
Yeah,
crazy coincidence. Yeah.
yeah, awesome. So let's talk a little preview about the big game coming up Sunday, and I know you're excited because you're gonna go to the motherland to watch the game, which I'm jealous about.
No, actually, I'm actually here to tell the viewers and the listeners that no, India need a right-hand bowler, and that's me. I'm coming home, boys. I'm just kidding. No, no, no. I'll be going to India. Yep, and I'll be watching it. At better timings. So I'll be watching it. With the rest of the country, and hopefully we'll just see how the country reacts after the game. Hopefully it's celebrations, but let's just see. Hopefully it's a great game. So no, looking forward to it.
Awesome. What are you looking forward to the most for that game?
Well, I think there's a lot of different things. I think India's bowling, you have different storylines, a lot of different bowlers who could really make some damage. India's batting as well. I am looking forward to, and knock on wood, I'm gonna find someone. I'm gonna knock on it. Kohli always performs against Pakistan,
Yep.
and
Yep.
he could be in the worst form, but he's just able to go to the sixth gear, and just for that one game, like Kohli of like 2012, 2013, right? So
Yeah.
I'm just want to see Kohli's battle against Pakistani bowlers. What about yourself?
Yeah, yeah. I'm looking forward to watching Pakistani bowlers, the opening bowlers against Rohit Sharma and Shubman Gill.
Oh yes,
Shaheen Shah Afridi has had the wood over Rohit Sharma, and so I would like to see that battle for sure. And then, like you said, Kohli against that attack as well. But I do feel India has the edge with with their batting over Pakistan's batting, which makes India's bowling stronger. Just because I believe their batting compared to India is nowhere close. And I feel like for it to be a tight game, if India's batting first, Pakistan's got to reduce them to below 275. And then if India is chasing, Pakistan's got to make 300 plus to put some pressure.
question. As you just mentioned, the two scenarios there. Which one, looking at the wicket, looking at India's game, which would you rather prefer India to do? Look to chase or look to put a score up?
Yeah, it's interesting because they chose to bat first against
They did.
Bangladesh. Sorry, they chose to bowl
Bangladesh.
first.
Yeah,
Bangladesh won the toss or India won the toss?
I'm pretty sure. I thought Bangladesh had won the toss and chose to bat first.
Okay.
Yeah, Bangladesh won the toss and decided to bat first.
Yes, yes, yes. Okay, so sorry. So then seeing how Bangladesh batted, maybe India thinks twice about batting first because there may be
Yeah,
something in the wicket. Because there definitely was something in there for the seam bowlers in those initial 10, 15, 20 overs. So maybe India is better off batting second because you have the dew factor too. I don't know how much of an impact it made because Rashad Hussain and the Fizz, was still able to grip the ball, bowl their slower balls, or Rashad Hussein's leggies. The ball didn't seem to skid too much. So just based on the last game alone, I'd say you're probably better off batting second and chasing. But I guess you got to make that decision on the day, depending on how the pitch looks.
yeah, and no, to your point there. I don't know. I do not remember who it was on comms, but they had mentioned that the dew factor at this time of the year is not as much as those
There you
previous
go.
seasons of the IPL that we've talked about. So no, I think you're spot on there. So no, I think it'll be interesting to see. But no, interesting game. And I think it's one of those classic rivalries. Happens every year now. So no, I think everyone looks forward to it. What's your prediction?
This is tough. I know in Champions trophies we can no longer say that Pakistan has never lost to India because they won the most important one, the last one that happened. I'm gonna go with India. I think India just holds the edge in all the departments right now. Pakistan, they seem to change their lineup a bit just from a few injuries that happened with the team.
Fakhar Zaman's injured as well, and he's a
Oh,
key
he's
batter.
injured. Okay, that's a
He's injured.
big
He's
loss.
out. He's out of the entire ICC. I mean, out of the entire Champions Trophy now. Yep.
Oh, wow, wow. Okay, so it'll be interesting to see who they bring in. But man, that's a big loss because they already are down Saim Ayub, who's right
Yes.
now, I would
Yep.
say their
The two
best,
openers.
yeah, their best batsman in the sense that he's the most in form. I know Babar's their best batsman, quote unquote, but Sam Ayub has done well lately and he's not there. Fakhar Zaman came in for him. Now he's not there. And so it'll be interesting. So is it going to be Mohammad Haris? Do we know?
I'm not sure because in the previous match they brought up South Shakil up,
Hmm.
so I'm not too sure what they want to do because I think Babar's obviously he's gonna bat first, so I'm not
Yeah.
sure. I'm not sure. Does Mohammad Rizwan step up? Right,
I
he's
was
opened it
just
in T20s, so
Yeah, I was just gonna say maybe that is what they end up doing. So it'll be interesting to see. We don't know what's gonna happen. Looks like looks like they haven't really made a replacement call. I'm just looking at Cricket for right now. So I guess we'll see what happens on the game in terms of who they select. But that is a big loss because that's going to impact their ability to get some quick runs at the top.
Yeah, yeah, no, to your point there, and just very quickly as well from my end, I think in addition to everything you just mentioned, I as well believe Pakistan just doesn't have the slight edge over India, and I think one of the key departments as well is the spin bowling. I think Pakistan, I think their all-in-all spin bowler is just Abrar. I
Yeah,
forgot his first name, just eludes me, Abrar, and they have
Abrar
a
Ahmed.
few. Abrar Ahmed, and I'm sure, and I know they use some of their batsmen as well, and there's some of their all-rounders for those spinning options, but India with some, I think two all in out spinners, and then with three all rounders who are able to spin as well. I just think India may have that slight advantage, uh, into the game as well.
Do you see India making any changes?
Ooh, I don't know because the only thing I could potentially see is Arshdeep Singh come in.
Hmm.
And I think I see that because he's played very well against Pakistan in those T20 tournaments in those previous years. He's gotten Babar out on the first ball. He's gotten Mohammad Rizwan out. He's known the batters, so I think he's okay. But could you drop Harshid Rana after that performance? Because he was also able to bowl pretty decent in my opinion. So
Yeah.
I think from a bowling perspective, they could make that change, but I don't think any batsman is changing from my side.
What about Varun for Kuldeep?
Oh yes, that's also a potential change. But we all know how Varun did in that one T20 tournament against Pakistan, where they're able to chase 152 net out. He was not able to get a wicket during that time, and people really thought that Babur and Rizwan had the best of him. Could that be in the back of his mind? Could that be in the back of Gautam Gambhir's mind? I don't know. I still prefer Kuldeep in because of his matchup with Babur. Because if Babur is able to, do decent in the opening, see through the fast bowlers, I think he is shaky against Kuldeep. So I would like to see Kuldeep because of his past performances against Pakistan.
Okay, awesome. Well, we can't wait for this game. It's going to be a humdinger as it always is with India versus Pakistan. And we will come at you with the review of that game right after it happens. Stay tuned for that. But until then, that stumps. Don't forget to like and subscribe.